What is that about me?
No,
Huh?
no. All right, peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening in time 9, time 10? We in this piece, picking up where we left off. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. Like they is not, what's his name? Zuppenberger, Zippenberger. What's the guy name? Ziegenberger, Zuppenberger. Right, this guy stole some stuff we used to do back in middle school. I haven't talked about this in a long time, but initially, when Facebook became available to the general populace of people, you know, like I said, they stole the shit from us. This is what we used to do in middle school, except, there was no internet that was accessible to us, as shorties or whatnot. But what we used to do is we made a book, and it was called the Book of All the Business or something like that, where, the popular people in school, it was like about 20 pages. The first page, it asks what's your name. And as the book would get passed around, it was numbered. So as the book would get passed around to, the various individuals or whatnot, their name would be on the first page. The second page was what's your phone number. The third page was what's your address. And a lot of us, was savvy, a little smart with it. We wouldn't put our address on there. We'll put none of your business or whatnot. Third page, what's your boyfriend or girlfriend name. It was the same exact shit that Facebook is today. And I'm talking 1988, 1989, All the same way everything else has been stolen from us as melanated people. They stole this idea, and with the level of technology that they have, in today's time, they just updated and upgraded what we used to do with shorties. Again, it's not new. What they do on Facebook and, all of your information and what's your email and all. Again, these are things we used to do 20 and 30 and for some of us 40 years ago. Nothing is new. The same way, your local state lottery and your casinos and all that. This is shit our ancestors was doing thousands of years ago, right? But again, initially, if we go back to Harlem, for example, when we talk about Bumpy Johnson and what's the sister name who used to bodyguard originally, who originally ran that particular gambling system in Harlem, who they made the movie Hoodlum, the movie Hoodlum about. I can't think of her name, forgive me, y'all, but it was illegal then, right? But now to play the lottery is absolutely legal. You can play the lottery in probably all states. Let me see what's going on with Facebook, y'all. Just rock with me for a minute. Why is the page so big? It's not even, I don't even, man, you know what? I'm really about to be done with fucking Facebook. This is pissing me off. I promise this is pissing me off. Huh? It's not, okay, so right here. Yeah, but I hadn't messed with that. Something. Oh, I see what's wrong. Bam. Okay. But that still don't mean I'm gonna be able to take it off private. See how it's still doing it?
What's wrong? What's wrong?
The page is too big. See, I can't see the icon.
So hold down. Scroll down.
See, it's still not. Oh, this just forget. Bear with me, y'all. 1 minute. I'm gonna try it from my phone after I do this. So again, we just talked about the lottery, and that was started by our ancestors. If we start talking about chess or shooting dice, we can go back, and even when you talking about roulette, right? They got their own little. You know how they on that death stuff. They got Russian roulette. You know what I'm saying? When we were watching the movie Sinners, which I was just talking to my cousin, peace to the guy, Bruiser Wolf, yesterday. If you aren't hip to this particular hip hop artist, Bruiser Wolf, make sure you hit all the streaming. Will the Bruiser Wolf hit all the streaming platforms, and check out his music because it's very worthy. Like if you a conscious person, you know what I'm saying, and you big on knowledge, cuz is right up your alley. No, he's not Ciroc or X-Clan or things like this and that, but that boy got mad work. Like he make, the white boy Eminem, you know what I'm saying, look like child's play. Cause my cuz got mad work. Like, to tell you what it is for sure. And again, that's the Bruiser Wolf. Straight out the 313, cuz don't play. My guy doing shows all over the world. He all over in Paris and everywhere. And as usual, our people seem to be late, getting hip to what's really hot. Not in all aspects. Because again, we couldn't be last on what was hot because he from right here, right? But we was kicking it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of those individuals. I'm not bragging on myself or whatnot, but how many millionaires call you and then ask you questions about politicians and politics and various aspects of knowledge itself, like history and things like this and that. Like I've been that kind of go-to sister for a while now, based on who my elders and ancestors are, and I give all praise and pay homage to them because without them, there's no me. Which again is the very reason I don't understand why, a lot of my brothers and sisters put these various ideologies and deities and make them more important than yourself. Like you give more praise and pay more homage to, Islam and the Torah and the Tanakh and the Talmud and the King James, Hidios, Biblios, or Holy Bible, if you will. I don't do that. My ancestors come first. For me, when you start talking about Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, for me, you talking about shit like the first grade, the second grade, the third grade, the fourth grade. I liked the third grade. I liked the 10th grade when what I learned, algebra 1, 2, 3, pre-algebra. I took marine biology when I was in the 12th grade down at Charlotte High School in Punta Gorda, Florida. You know what I'm saying? I took course in drama when I was in the 9th grade in Port Charlotte, Florida. You know what I'm saying? I took home ec in let me see, government when I went to Cody High School on Cathedral. You see what I'm saying? In between Cathedral and Joy Road, right here in Detroit. And I liked all of those courses, but I didn't remain in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th grade the way many of us, how, like I said, you climbed into a particular chamber of knowledge and you got so comfortable there that you locked yourself in that one chamber of knowledge. And, you have the right and the choice to do so. But once you make that decision, don't come to me trying to tell me nothing. Nothing. I already went in 3rd grade. I made sure I graduated and went to the 4th grade, the 5th grade, the 6th grade, and so on and so forth, right? So what I'm saying to you is, if you have trapped yourself into Judaism and you think Judaism is the end all be all, right? That's your choice. But don't come to somebody, you know what I'm saying, who was also a Hebrew Israelite back in the 90s and early 2000s, you know what I'm saying, and try to dictate shit to me. You're not on my level. And I'm not saying with that I know more than you. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't. I'm not one of those individuals. I'm wise enough to know that. That's it, y'all. This live is on Facebook, but it's private. It's stating only me. I cannot figure out why it's doing that. So from now on, you got to come to YouTube. If your ass don't come to YouTube, you will not be able to see any of these live videos and any of this type of content that I do from now on. It's over with from Facebook because I'm tired of them. How you give me a monetized account on Facebook, don't want to pay me my fucking money and make it where if I go on my phone and go live right now, y'all can see and hear everything that I'm saying. But when I go live from StreamYard to go live on all of my various social media accounts, all of a sudden Facebook want to make it difficult. So I'm not fucking with Facebook no more. Fuck Facebook. How about that? That's how we roll. I'm done. Dumb shit. How you gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of me? Mark Zucker, German, Sherman ass, but don't want to pay me and try to make me. I'm not jumping through loops or none of that shit. Because you done became a billionaire off of some shit that y'all stole from little melanated children. Because again, Facebook, they didn't create Facebook. What they did is they took something that was already coined and popularized by melanated folks. Probably, far as I know, my parents was doing this, but I know for a fact when I attended Brooks Middle School on West Chicago, here in what they call Detroit, Michigan, we had our own Facebook, right? And everything that we did within that book that got passed around the entire school to all the popular kids that used to be first to death, right? Because any kid couldn't get in that book, unlike Facebook, right? You had to be one of the popular shorties to be in our book and for your information to be listed in that, for everybody else to be able to view, respond, and comment to. We just did it with pen and paper. We didn't have the internet. I'm so sick of them all. I'm tired of Facebook. So let's get back on topic to what we was talking about. Like I done made some posts. I know people expect for that to be, what I'm talking about. It'll be mixed in a little bit, just in a different way, because again, what I'm determined to do is end the gender wars. So a lot of what I talk about when I start talking about relationships and things that are toxic, I'm not on here talking about, oh, the brothers are toxic and the passport boys are toxic. No, it's some toxic females out here too. Y'all do some toxic shit too. We do. We have toxic women and we have toxic men, right? We have abusive women and we have abusive men. We have jealous women and we have jealous, vindictive men too, right? So for me to sit up and you never see me sit up and be like, oh, black men ain't this and black men. I've never done that. You cannot show that anywhere on anything that I've ever done. Now, if I'm talking about one man or one woman in particular, y'all know I don't have no problem naming names. I'll name names. That's nothing to me. It's nothing for me. Where I'm from, what I've been through, I done lost everything before already. And that's something that I'm not willing to do again ever. Not doing it. Based off of other motherfuckers' issues and shit like that. No, we not doing that. We're not doing that. I done lost houses and cars because not just based off of my anger, but based off of me reacting and retaliating to people disrespecting me. I'm not a disrespectful person. You have to come into my circle, right? Yes, sir, Bruiser Wolf. Guarantee you gonna love the music and you gonna love the lyrics. For sure. That boy got mad wordplay, right? Like, I'm having issues with this other monitor. Man, I swear social media be... Y'all think I be dragging some people through the mud. You know they be deserving it, but they be making shit difficult for me. And it's asinine for me to, you know what I'm saying? Let people make things difficult for me and for me to just, it's like, how they say it in their Bible, you get smacked on the cheek, you turn your other cheek and get smacked again. That's not how we function and operate. You smack me, I smack you back. I'm like EPMD, right? Now you can say what you want to say. By all right, that's that's your right. Say what you want to say, feel how you want to feel. Right? I can't control that. But certain things you're not supposed to let in your cipher. Right? And disrespect is one of them. Now, when it comes to this, I didn't coin it. I didn't coin God hop. I didn't coin edutainment, but this is God hop and this is edutainment, right? This is exactly what this is, and this is exactly what we do over here. So, again, I don't know why these platforms. I think I do. See, when you follow the algorithm and you making videos about P. Diddy and you own the No Diddy and the Sean Combs and whatever else is popular right now, right? Or you pro-Trump or anti-Trump and you know this all you talk about, whatever's hot. I ain't trying to be on whatever's hot. I'm on us coming together and putting down these various ideologies so we can manifest destiny. We can see out the plan. We can, you know what I'm saying, become again what our ancestors were. Right? When we ran teams, we used to run the world. Right? And if you look at everything now, everybody mimics and imitates us for the most part. Because right now, I'm about to cut the music off. I just turn the music off. Let me get to it. I gotta find it first. Where my banner at first? There we go. Y'all know what it is all day, every day. All right, y'all got it. I don't like how that track come in and go out, so we're gonna have to eliminate that for a minute. And I'm still working on the other monitor, y'all. I could still be on camera while I work on this. Some of y'all feel like, who's speaking? Who's talking? She's reading a sheet, or what is she doing? No, I'm trying to get the other monitor together. And I might have to do it from the other one because I don't understand. Okay, let me see. I think I can shut this down. Let's see. Let's see what happens if I do it like this. See, now I don't see nothing. So I was talking about my Jamaican, as y'all say Jamaican, my Jamaican people, and where I get this tree gun. Because they told me back in 1988 and 89, they said every woman need tree gun. They didn't say 3 guns, and they didn't say tree guns. They said tree gun. Every woman need tree gun. And I can say I comprehended that without even thinking about it, right? And the reason I say, babe, yo, you loud over there. The reason I can say I kind of comprehended it is because my granny gave me my first pistol, right? Number 1. Number 2, I wish my grandparents and my parents took the arms training more serious and sent us through the CPL procedures or whatever, if nothing else, to get the training so I could be trained in how to handle arms and when it's appropriate to bring gunplay into the picture, because I wasn't schooled. I was just given a gun here. I wore my mother mink coat to school when I was in like the 6th grade, and it's a little heavy, and it's a 38 special in the pocket. Shit like that. Like all of my mother cars growing up, it was always pistols in the car. And she explained to me as a woman that a female is always supposed to be able to protect themselves. These, again, are conversations that mothers and I assume fathers have to have with their children For example, this is something that I spoke about in the past. I remember around maybe the age of 11, something like that. My mother put me and my second oldest brother, set us on the couch and was like, y'all walk a little further to school than what you used to walk. And I want y'all to be careful, always look out for each other, because a hard penis has no conscience. Just imagine saying that to your children, or having the responsibility or duty to have to say that to your children. A hard penis has no conscience. I would think, again, as a parent, as a mother, or as a father, that is one of the most difficult conversations that you will have to have with your children. And pay attention. I didn't just say the conversation that you have to have with your daughters. And this was a conversation that my mother didn't just have with me as her daughter. She had it with me and my second oldest brother. I'm sure, had she lived longer, it would have been a conversation that she would have had to have with my younger sister, right? These are the ills of the world, y'all. These are things that you won't be able to safeguard your children from on a 24/7 basis, right? When your children are at school, you're not at school with them unless you homeschool them. And it's not a bad idea when you think of all the sickos that we have, right? It's a lot of sick people out here. Which is why, peace to the God, brother Irritated Genie. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and this is the very reason that we had him on the show, right? This is a sick world. And when we live in a society where you have an abundance of our women and children being violated in that manner, this creates some of these gender war issues that we have currently, where you got a bunch of men who don't respect women or have this hatred for females, or then you have a bunch of women who don't respect men that have this I hate men mentality, and they raise these children who become LMNOTPQUZSC. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. This generational S abuse that happens to us spawn these lifestyles, right? That will put us in a position as a people to cease to exist. Because again, two of these, you see, can y'all see it? Two of these can't make no babies. Two of these don't make no babies. This, y'all see this? This makes babies. That's what makes babies. Not LMNOTPQUTT. That don't make babies. That's genocide. What that is. That's so genocide as a people. So again, this is the very reason that I had the brother Irritated Genie on the show. Hold up, y'all. I gotta get the other monitor. I don't know what's going on with this one, but it's not allowing me to do what I need to do to get the word out to the other brothers and sisters. So let me see. Hold on. We gonna have to do a commercial. So hold tight, everybody.
YouTube. You fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe? Come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda, we showing real life.
All right, we back up in this piece. I almost did what I came here to do. Get a copy on that. My apologies to the audience, especially my people that I rock with on Facebook. It's not like I don't rock with Facebook like I do, but ever since I got this monetized professional page and, you get more than 5,000 friends and you got 6, 7, 10, and 15,000 followers. At that point, for some reason, I don't know why, but Mark Zuckerberg and all of them, they start wanting you to jump through all of these hoops that I'm not trying to jump through. I mean, like for what? Y'all don't want to pay me, right? Number one. And again, they won't take the live off of private. What's the point? Who does a live? You know what I'm saying? Unless you're doing something that you tend to use for pre-recorded purposes later on. But who wants to do a live where only you can see it? Like, that don't make sense. I said I'm done on here. All right, I got that party in, y'all. Woo. Again, I still don't, and I don't want to keep reiterating the fact that, again, all my Facebook people, y'all got to come to YouTube from now on. Babe, you kind of loud over there. You loud over there. Yeah, again, all the Facebook people, even though they can't even hear me making this request right now, but from now on, y'all just simply gonna have to come to YouTube and in order to see the bills, because it's not just about the community standards on Facebook. Y'all know I don't give a damn about being a Facebook jail, because it seems like that's where they want to attempt to always try to put me anyway, which is senseless, because again, they making money off me. It ain't the other way around. I'm not making money off them. They making money off me. And again, I guess I'll say this for one of the last times this evening. They making money off of something that was created by us. So they making money off of our culture. Meanwhile, you got many of us mimicking and imitating them and amening them. When I look at, again, and look, when I say certain things, I'm going to explain why. Don't get your panties in the bunch because I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump and I don't like Biden and Obama. This is a bloodline of people, right? It's a bloodline. Although many of us may not be or may not think that we're directly related to one another, but in many cases, some of us are. Let's put that out there. In many cases, some of us are related to each other, right? And for those of us who aren't, many of us are connected by way of clan or tribe, if you will, right? The problem is we had those tribal names, or since name alludes to Christianity, appellations stripped from us, right? And with that being said, that led many of our grandmothers and grandfathers to use words like Cherokee, right? Many 90-something% of the people within listening distance, if I say Cherokee, you heard Cherokee, right? But if I say Kittiwah or I say Washita, how many of y'all grandparents said y'all was Kittiwah or Washita, right? Again, we all are familiar with Cherokee. I'm just saying, when we start talking about the 5 civilized tribes, understand what that word civilized mean. If my ancestors predate your ancestors, how you figure that you civilized or that we could be civilized? The point of even the creation of the various ideologies that many of us worship, for a lack of a better word right now, these were ideologies that were created in order to civilize those people, not us. You cannot civilize the mothers and fathers of civilization. We created y'all. Y'all didn't create us. My ancestors went nowhere sucking on the breast of a she-wolf. That's their ancestors. So there was no need for us to follow any doctrine. We are the doctrine. So again, and that's messed up because I wanted the brother from Facebook. I wanted him to join in on the live since he has so much to say on the Facebook, right? I did a little prelude live and I set my phone up for Facebook because again, it won't let me take it off private. That's just like right now, it's blew up all big and I don't even know why. Like, I don't understand. It shouldn't be so big as to where I can't even look at the notifications. Like, what kind of shit is that? I guess we don't know, and I'm not gonna find out no time soon. But like I said, I'm gonna have to drop it from there. Where my phone at? At the very least, I will let the people on Facebook know, like, it's not letting me take it off for only me. That don't make sense. And recently, I wasn't even, for the past 30 days, I wasn't even able to go live on Facebook at all. So I'm about to let them know what we on. Okay, I know that. See, this is causing stagnation on my end, being that we already live. So I don't understand what the problem is. As y'all can see, it's on there. That's Facebook. It's on there, but it's not letting me take it off of private. I don't, just the dumbest shit that I'll never face this particular issue. This is really pissing me off. Because truth be told, this is where a lot of the traffic comes from. So let me see. What if I pick a topic? It still won't let me take it off. Yeah, fuck Facebook. Excuse my French. I'm from Dey-Twah. I speak a lot of French. I'm just about to try to delete it. So let me try to delete it. See if it, yeah, I'm about to delete it. Because this don't make sense. I'm not doing a live just for myself. Like, that don't make sense. And I like to have interaction with the brothers and sisters because I don't damn know everything. I'll never claim to know more than what somebody else knows. Now, maybe if, yeah, it's gone. I deleted it. StreamYard is telling me. So it might be StreamYard okay. So I'm going in on Facebook and it's not Facebook. It's actually StreamYard that's having the issue. So all right. I'm not going to apologize to Zick and Zerkenberg because y'all still stole this from little melanated children. this entire idea, the way that all of this is set up from A to Z. Again, we was already doing this. It just wasn't on a digital realm. So let me do what I was trying to do right quick and tell all the people to come over here, and we gonna carry on with the bill, and we gonna, we gonna learn some things from one another, right? Again, I never claim to know anything, and if I say I know more than somebody, which is very rare, is gonna be in a particular area of knowledge. It's not gonna be overall, right? It's some, not just elders, but it's some brothers and sisters that's my age that haven't been to school since the 6th grade, but they are master electricians, they are plumbers, you know what I'm saying? Carpenters, they got all kind of knowledge that I don't have. So just because I have, some extensive knowledge in various areas, when we're talking about knowledge itself, doesn't mean that I have more knowledge than a brother or a sister who haven't been to school since 7th and 8th grade. For sure. We got master mechanics that got mad knowledge, right? So how can I sit back and say I know more than you? That don't compute with me at all. That I don't do. Again, nobody should claim to know everything. It's a lot of real egotistical brothers and sisters out here in this realm that we call knowledge of self, that are swore up and down that don't nobody know more than them, and they this guru type of person. You know what I'm saying? And that particular arrogance is not needed due to our current circumstances as a whole, as a people. What we need is everybody don't have to be like overly humble, but we have to get to the point to where we don't take issue with brothers and sisters who pay homage to their own ancestors, right? None of us should have a problem with that. So when I spoke earlier and I said, hey, I peeped that there's some social media broadcaster, content creator people within the realm of knowledge of self making such statements like, well, these brothers and sisters that's out here now that's into the ancestor worship, they're wrong, or, they taking it too far. Are you out your fucking mind? And I say that to say, again, when it comes to the various ideologies, all of this shit is modern. Now, a lot of it has some of the ancient aspects to it because that's where it comes from. But in the past, we'll just say 5 centuries, in the past 500 years, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, which is basically all the same 1 degree, just some different denominations, the same way within Christianity. You got your Methodist, your Baptist, your Pentecostal, and you know what I'm saying? Y'all all your 7-day Adventists, your Jehovah's Witness, they all pulling from the same ideology. It's just like hip hop. You got your conscious hip hop, you got your gangster, you got your crunk. You know what I'm saying? They all still rapping and dancing and using samples and some original compositions, and you know what I'm saying? But it all is from the same tree, is what I'm saying, right? For me to worship or pay homage to my ancestors trumps Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And for me, it's something as a people that we need to get back to so we can get back to being ourselves, right? Again, these ideologies, this shit wasn't made for us to uplift us. It was made for us. We made it. Our ancestors made it in order to civilize the uncivilized, to civilize the people who was drinking from the she with breast, and was scared of fire and scared of water, and you know what I'm talking about? Like, that's not us. That's not, this stuff wasn't put together for us to get into it, being that, okay, let me say it like this. It's like this. Wherever you go, I don't care what country you in or what continent that country is on, you're always going to be able to find remnants of ancient, heavily hued, heavily melanated people with the woolly hair there. Read what's on the bottom of the screen. Nobody creates us anywhere. So with that being said, us coming into contact, who on Facebook, if you on Facebook, for some reason, is not letting me broadcast the live from StreamYard. So y'all gonna have to go to YouTube, to the Alhambra Society 313. Again, go to YouTube to the Alhambra Society 313 so that you can participate and we can build together, right? Peace on that end. All right, we done with that. So we get back to where we at over here so we can get into what we doing. So I said toxic love and hate, people, places, and things. Where are we going with this? We gonna get off into the politics right quick, right? Again, y'all hear me talk stuff about the orange guy a lot. And it's only because he is the current CEO sitting in the Oval Office who refuses to balance the books in our favor by way of cutting the checks that are owed to us. Currently, you have quite a few cities who not only sign reparations bills, but are cutting the checks on the level that they can cut the checks on. These cities don't have the resources or the finances that the federal government has. And the federal government is the ones who actually owe the debt. Now, some of the cities and the states owe the debt by way of them. For example, I could talk about Miami, or I could talk about here in Detroit in a neighborhood that was called Black Bottom, where you had melanated on everything: clubs, gas stations, stores, medical facilities. Not as big as some of the hospitals that we have in today's times, but we had our own facilities, as to where when our women were giving birth, they didn't have to worry about losing a baby, or the women losing their lives, or the child coming out with cerebral palsy, and all of these things that currently happen to our women when we're, to a too high of a percent of our women when we're giving birth, right? We don't have to worry about, we didn't have to worry about our women who were having reproductive issues, right? The sisters now, when we go to the gynecologist and say you have a cyst or something like that, the first thing the gynecologist wants to do is give you a hysterectomy, right? These were things that our women didn't face. The amount of our men who have prostate issues, there were other, not just holistic remedies, but medical procedures as to where our people dealt with this in a different way. It wasn't where you had a doctor who didn't even want to prescribe you painkillers that would actually help you deal with the pain based on the fact that you melanated. So we think you some type of dope fiend. So, we will give you some Tylenol, some shit that you don't have to go to a pharmacist to get Tylenol. You can go to the corner store. You can go to Kroger, or let me name some, Publix, or Rite Aid, or Walgreens, or CVS, or anywhere. You don't have to be prescribed these medications that many of these doctors write prescriptions for us for. But meanwhile, their own people, they'll write them, and sometimes this works in our favor. But when somebody is facing like serious pain and agony, again, they get their own people Percocets at will, oxycodone, and whatever else at will, all type of stuff with codeine in it and things like this and that. But When it comes to us, is like, it goes back again to the slavery days, when it's still being perpetuated now. We some type of beings that can handle pain. Oh, that really doesn't hurt them. This goes, we can look into the medical apartheid book and see the atrocious things that were done to our women, right? And our people as a whole. Why is ebonics coming to mind? Eugenics and things like this and that. There's an entire history. They actually teach courses on some of the unacceptable things that were done to us. So when I start talking about a Donald Trump, again, it doesn't mean that I'm a fan of a Joseph Biden, right? I don't have love for either one of them. And even once the books are balanced by way of them cutting the checks that they owe us, I'm still not gonna let up on their ass. For sure. We got a lot of work to do. And if I'll take this watch off, if I see that y'all praising the orange man with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, it lets me know we got even more work to do. Because for you to think that he's the guy, oh, he's not a racist, and that's our boy, and he used to date black women, and he gave this black man this much money, and I don't give a fuck. Pardon my French, but I don't. They don't balance in the books. And that's not their job, right? Like I've told y'all multiple times. Ultimately, his job is to make the wealthy wealthier. But being that he's an employee of we the people, and I'm not talking about we the people that they were speaking about in their organic constitution. I'm talking about we the people of the land. The caretakers of the land by way of blood is us, not them. They're visibly European. Donald Trump is visibly German. If you did not know that his ancestry is German, right? Y'all love to talk about how, and I'm gonna put this one on Judge Joe Brown. He loved to talk about how he was at a club way back in the day, and it was this tall white man who was kicking it with the black people and dating black women, and I found out his name was Donald Trump. So how can you call him a nigga? First of all, Judge Joe Brown worked for the corporate entity who imprisoned. Why he talks so much shit about a Kamala Harris, nigga, you worked in that industry for decades. You locked many people up who didn't probably deserve to be locked up. So of course you would be cool with who you cool with being a manly man. I don't take issue with that. I take issue with the fact that you're putting, even Judge O'Brien said, well, I used to be a Democrat. You understand? But I switched sides too. I don't care if it's Democratic or Republican. I don't care what wing of the bird. I don't care if you're talking about a fake elephant or a fake donkey. Again, these people are a bloodline. They came here to rob, pillage, and what y'all say, grape the people. And they've gotten so filthy rich out of it. And the people have assimilated to thinking or to believing that law is what they say law is. And what is illegal are the things that they've made illegal. These bastards have made it illegal to water your grass on a Tuesday. You understand? They made it illegal for you to plant a garden or dig up something on your own land without a permission slip, i.e. a license from them. And when you don't adhere to, and again, these people are visibly European. And when you don't adhere to their policies, they tell you that if convicted, you can or will receive 10 years in prison and or a $50,000 fine. Right? See, we can go back and talk about vagrancy laws and the Christian black codes and Jim Crow. But what I never hear anybody outside of myself speak about is the fact that since the times of the vagrancy laws, which were never abolished, they didn't abolish slavery. They didn't abolish the vagrancy laws. They didn't abolish the Christian black codes of 17. What is it, y'all? Help me out. 17, 22, 15, whatever it is. It's been a minute. My point being is this: what they did is they modified these policies, right? And the fact that since those times, because they first 100 so-called laws were all about us, right? 1721, thank you. Let's put it out there. They first 100 laws was all about us, right? And many would tell you that everything that they do is based on us, right? And I'm not anti that. I like to stick to things that can be proven, right? And with that being said, on an annual basis, since those first 100 laws that they made, currently on an annual basis, their bar, British or barristers accredited registry get together with their politicians, the senator, congressmen, and they come up with over 100,000 different policies, acts, codes, laws, whatever you want to call it, on an annual basis. For those of you who don't peep annual, on a yearly basis, right? Which again puts us at a disadvantage, because if they, since those first 100 laws, now that they have million laws to put us at a disadvantage, it's done in attempts to keep us in poverty. When people live in poverty, it's very difficult for you to concentrate on building wealth, or what we call generational wealth, for your heirs and descendants. If you're too busy worried about keeping the lights on and keeping the gas on and keeping the water bill paid and keeping your rent paid or keeping your mortgage paid or keeping your property tax paid or being able to make the annual or monthly tuition on your children's private school. And these are the things typically that we worry about. Meanwhile, these aren't none of Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't worry about none of that shit. He don't have the same problems and issues as y'all. But the trauma bonding that happened in between my brothers and sisters and Donald Trump, and this is a new one. This is one I admittedly never said. The man got what? 3-4 different baby mamas. Keep in mind, and this is something else I'm not 100 on, but since I've been aware of who he is, since back in the day before he became a president, because prior to him being president, he wasn't a politician. But I knew that he would go to Russia to get his wives, you know, Ivanka, Vika, and Shalanka, and Blanca. He would go to he will have intercourse or intimate relationships with American women, be it indigenous American women or European American women, if that makes sense. I don't think it may. Y'all, you know what I'm trying to say when I say what I said. It's just like if I said black people, you know what I'm talking about, right? But again, he got multiple baby mamas. He got 30-something felony convictions. He done been shot at and grazed by bullets a lot of our people erroneously, especially some of our men, erroneously trauma bonded with the enemy. None of those things that happened to him erases his ancestry. The same way our current conditions doesn't erase our ancestry and who we are by blood. By blood, again, our ancestors didn't have the belief of ownership of land. When our ancestors went through rites of passage, they had the over understanding of the fact that the land belongs to the people and is passed down in the way of us being caretakers of the land. Not, this is the reason, okay, if I say I own this particular land, it means that I can sell it to a German man or a French man or English man or Irish man or whatever, right? Our ancestors did not function like that, right? This is why there was no concept of ownership of land. Now, by all right, if we let you into the land and you violate any of our customs or traditions, then we will escort you. You will be lucky to merely just be escorted off the land and not have your head chopped off. But in this current age and time, we can very well recognize some of the mistakes that were made by some of our ancestors, being the number one mistake that was made by, again, some of the tribes, especially when you start talking about Iroquois or the 5 civilized tribe, is not just because they indulge in doing business with the various European nations, because that is something that has been happening for centuries, the business portion. But the fact that you would allow some of these various European nations to marry in and tie themselves within the vine, number one. Number two, you would team up with some of these European nations out of greed and jealousy to fight against some of the older indigenous tribes or clans over here on this land. And since all of this has happened, the roles were reversed. Remember, we are not the original slaves or Slavs or Slavics. I don't care how far back you go into the slave trade. You will find that initially, when we're talking about nations who did commerce and trade with one another, initially, those indentured servants or Slavs or slaves or Slavics were the pale people. It was not us. The tables were able to be turned and flipped when many of us or some of our ancestors began to betray the other clans, again, based off of greed. In the current politics that are taking place today, those same, I don't want to say tradition, but those same policies are being enforced, which is why currently most of our people, if I mention the fact that, okay, we're not the minority, right? Because when you deal with legalese and you look in the law dictionary and you look up the word minority, it alludes to minor, meaning that someone who doesn't have the mental capacity of an adult. Therefore, you are minority because you're not allowed to handle your own affairs in a legal manner. So they deal with you with colorable laws, right? So when you hit them with the deprivation of rights under the color of law, it go over a lot of people's head. They really don't comprehend that to the fullest extent of it. They comprehend it when we're talking about, peace be upon them, somebody like a George Floyd or Sandra Bland or whatnot, right? But when we're talking about this in everyday commercial presentments, people look at us like, how's that applicable, right? Because they really don't understand what happened and how we got to a large percentage of our people being just at the poverty line, just above it, or just below it. Now, I know there are some wealthy, melanated people right here in what we call North America. We know this. And it's not just your Jay-Z and Beyonce's and people in the entertainment industry. We have inventors. We have scholars on the level of not just surgeons and mathematicians, but we have a lot of great people. We have teenagers, melanated teenagers who are responsible for various inventions and who are multimillionaires based off of their own, their own educating themselves. I just put it like that. No matter where they learned it from, they're self-made, self-educated, and were able to overcome, y'all, some of the boundaries that many of us still face, right? And a lot of people will say, well, that's by choice. America is the greatest this, and anybody can make it and become wealthy in America, right? These are the things that y'all call the people tellers that come from different nations that come over here and have this animosity towards us because they feel like we chose to not be educated. We chose to become felons. We chose to hate one another, not knowing that these things have been systematically created, not knowing that many of our people were bred to believe the things or perpetuate this light skin, dark skin, good hair, bad hair, following the Joneses, house and field Negro behavior, right? Generation after generation. I just spoke about the pedo activity and how in many situations some of our parents and grandparents would bury those issues instead of, yes, brother, being been programmed. Many of our elders would bury those issues, not realizing that you just not only created a generational curse, but you created more generations with mental health issues based on the fact that y'all didn't deal with this head on. When Uncle Ray touched mama and was touching his younger sisters and the younger cousins, y'all supposed to deal with that, right? Not bury it and let Uncle Ray or Pastor Pimpin or Rem Porkchop continue that cycle. And again, as I always say, this is the very reason that too many of our women and children are now, either comfortable with, accepting of, or participating in the LMNOTPQUFU community, right? Most, and I'm going to say most with confidence, most of these brothers and sisters who reference themselves to being homosexuals or bisexuals, most of them were violated as children. And again, a large percentage, and with confidence, I'm going to use the word most. Yes, that trauma has been passed down. Peace, God. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is what many of us, example, those of you who are friends with me on social media, the past few days, you've been hearing me share my own personal things that have been going on in my household. And I gave you all explanations as to why I was sharing that with you. Is because if we don't allow the victims to speak out about their abuse, or you telling them they shouldn't talk about their abuse, you're putting them in a position for that trauma to one day just come out and they just spaz out and really hurt somebody, right? Whether the individual who they hurt or not is deserving of it, you put them in a positions to get themselves locked up, right? I've been in a position before where I face violators multiple times, and when I wanted to fight, they didn't want to fight, right? But the very minute that I got fed up and I don't want to fight, I want to shoot, they want to run and go tell the police, right? I've been in those situations where I'm minding my own business. I'll let you get away with saying this and saying that about me. But the minute you put your hands on me, the minute you violate somebody who I love, whether it's verbally or physically, I'm going to jail. My reactions, I don't have the intent of I'm going to do this and that, so I know I'm going to jail. My intent is to hurt you because you out of pocket. The reality of it is, I don't care if I fucking go to jail. I've been in those situations already. Now, as a full-grown adult who in my early 20s lost cars, lost houses, lost bank account, lost not just my money, thousands of dollars, but hundreds of thousands of dollars of other people's money, helping me fight cases and trying to keep me on a roster as a hip-hop artist with their management companies and record labels, right? I'm saying I've been through it. I done lost everything before. So now that I'm older, I'm not willing to risk that unless you fuck with one of my family members or somebody that I love. Then all of that kind of go out the window for me, unfortunately. And I hate that I have that temperament, but we can't be out here being pussies. I'm going to just say what it is. I have a vagina, but ain't no hoes this way. I just tell you like my homeboys, ain't no hoes this way. Right? Again, I can endure people saying crazy shit to me. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to, you calling me names, right? Or making assumptions about who I am and what I know and I don't know is not going to make me put me in a position to lose everything that I've built and lose my freedom. But unfortunately, I still, and I think I will always have the mentality that if you mess with somebody that I love and I come and I check you and you cross that line again, it's on. I'm not going to never change. From it could be my son, my niece, my sister, my brother, some of my homegirls and homeboys who have had my back in the same fashion in the past. You cross the line, you get one chance to be corrected. If you do it again, that's your ass. And that's the mentality we all need to have. Because if we all possess that same pizzazz that I'm talking about, there will be very few habitual line steppers. As peace be upon him, Charlie Murphy would say. You call Rick James a habitual line crosser, line stepper. I'm just saying what it is. I don't bother nobody, right? I'm a homebody. I love being at home and enjoying the comfort of my home, of my relatives. And I like to be entertained just as much as the next person. But I don't make it a habit as to where I got to be at every concert. I got to be at every boxing match. I got to be out in Puerto Rico and Jamaica and Cancun and all of that 2 and 3 and 10 times out of the year. I made my own goddamn Cancun. See what I'm saying? Which shows that I'm very comfortable with myself. Although, let me say this, it pains me, and a lot of times I get depressed when I see the fact that so many of us who, just about everybody looks at stuff on the internet, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or whatever it is, right? But when you let these things, especially the pseudo information, right? Or the racist satire information, when you let those things begin to influence what is actually truth, it depresses me and it pisses me off. For example, as you all can see, if you go to the YouTube page, you will see since 2014, I've been making content that debunks the rumors of Michelle Obama being a man. She's not a man, she's a fucking woman. But if you are a content creator who you might just so happen to be called Muhammad or Shabazz or Il or Bay or Enoch or Inky, or you might deal with Kemet, right? You might deal with the Anunnaki. You might deal with Elohim, plural, the Elohim, right? I'm missing something, y'all. Something that I always say. Whatever, you get what I'm saying, right? So for my brothers and sisters to deal with this knowledge of self, when you get out here and you start broadcasting misinformation or pseudoscience or pseudo information or racist satire that came from the QAnon and the Proud Boy and whoever the fuck else, or the Ku Klux Klan and the skinheads, man, somebody help me out, because until I get this word in my mind, it's gonna drive me crazy. I guarantee it. Netaru. So if you deal with you conscious, you deal with the Netaru, you deal with the Elohim, you deal with the Anunnaki, you deal with the Orishas and so on and so forth. But you out here talking about Michelle Obama as a man. You make all the conscious community as a whole look like buffoons. You make way for, and I shared a couple of memes earlier that came from some of these groups where these pale-faced Trump voters drag the shit out of so-called conscious brothers and sisters. In particular, there's a post where they're saying, yeah, black people claim that the Olmecs were Negroid. These black people are delusional. When we know goddamn well that whether you're talking about the Olmecs or the Incas, right? Any of these ancient civilizations over here in North, South, and Central America were definitely, for lack of a better scientific term that doesn't piss people off, I'm gonna say Negroid, because we all can understand when I say Negroid, woolly hair, people with energy in their hair, right? See that? I'll pull it in the shit, pop right back. You know what I'm talking about? And these are Trump voters. These are the people that many of my brothers and sisters have aligned themselves with, right? And I'm going to just tell you, as your sister, you were wrong for that. Now I'm going to speak to the elders who foundation that we all stand on, who hold me down, who I know for a fact love me. They have expressed to me multiple times that the reason that they rock with Trump and that they push Trump is because they know he's a fucking racist. They know that he is going to implement policies that are going to be anti-black, right? And according to the elders, this will force us to come together and begin to be solution oriented, to seek resolution, remedy, and recourse within our own nation. I'll just put it like that. And I can understand that. But I will never understand or comprehend or understand why those of you who are actual Trump supporters, that's melanated like me, who voted for him, think that he's this non-racist guy who is going to that's going to balance the books and cut the checks to your people. If he was going to do that, he had leeway to do that during his first term, right? Now I'm going to put it to you like this. If I was a voter, if I didn't have the amount of knowledge that I have when it comes to the political science arena, I'm going to tell you right goddamn now, there's no way in hell I would have voted for an orange-faced, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man over an East-West Indian woman. And not just because she was an East-West Indian woman, right? The reason that, again, if I didn't have the knowledge that I had and I was a voter, the reason I would have voted for Camilla, and this is something I don't think I've ever said, is because, now whether or not she was lying, because politicians are known for lying, but she said this bold-faced, face-to-face on camera in front of hundreds of melanated, powerful people. And this was in 2020, 2019, and 2020. It was in 2020 when she was originally running for office, right? Which means it would have boiled down to her and Biden as far as the Democratic picks, right? So what Biden slick ass did is he pulled Kamala on his team as his VP to stop her from running for president. But I'm going to tell y'all what she said, right? In front of her soror sisters and the frat brothers and all of these other, wealthy, melanated men and women. What she said was, it was actually Al Sharpton, who I know many of y'all don't like. I don't care. To a degree, I like Al Sharpton. And to another degree, I wouldn't listen to him for advice. I'll just put it that way, right? But what she said was, he asked her, he said, if you make it to president and you win office, when this reparation bill hits your desk, will you sign it? The East-West Indian woman said yes, right? So let's couple that with the fact that some of us are so fucking stupid, right? And I'm going to say it again. Some of us are so incompetent that we looked at that clip, a soundbite, that clip that they use of Kamala saying, I'm not just going to do anything for black people. As a scholar and as a researcher, it is your job to thoroughly vet all information before you publicize it. This is what I do. This is why I don't have this huge ass fucking following, because people really don't fucking like the truth. And I don't care, right? I stand with the truth. I stand on truth. And I put money on the table about truth. You're not going to find a lot of people like me, number one. But people took that sound bite or that little video clip of her saying, oh, I'm not just going to do anything for black people. If you watch the video and the interview in its entirety, you'll see the contrast in that statement and why. It's just a little clip. If you listen to the whole interview, you'll see that she was laying out an entire program to get us our reparations that was just do, which is why Joe Biden, one of the reasons he backstabbed the fuck out of us by pulling her out of wanting to be a candidate. That's what I meant to say. Her and Joe Biden were the two Democratic candidates that it would have boiled down to run it against each other to be the final Democrat, right? To run for office against Trump, the Republican. La 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 la. You get what I'm saying, right? So again, I employ many of you to go back and look at that entire interview that she did, and you understand why I say, number, if I was a voter, if I did not have the knowledge that I have now concerning political science and history, right, that I would have voted for her before I ever would have voted for a blonde-haired, swirl wrapped around the fucking head, blue-eyed, orange motherfucker, right, who has been having sexual or intimate relationships with melanated women for decades. But based off of that, some of you believe that, oh, he's not a racist. Rappers used to mention him in they song. Rappers mention anybody who's wealthy in our songs. We're mentioning his name because he's a wealthy motherfucker. The hip-hop industry, when it comes to the music portion of it, is a very egotistical, braggalicious type of thing. When you an MC, you understand? Especially if you a battle MC like myself, you're going to be extremely braggadocious. You're going to be extremely egotistical, right? And you're going to always be about that cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Money don't run me as a grown-ass woman right now, but I understand the need for it, the relevance, and things like this and that, which is why when I originally made the statement, Michelle Obama's not a man, at first, I was telling anybody, I'll give you $100 right now to debate me about it. And if you can prove that Michelle Obama's a man, I will cash you out. I went from $100 to $1,000. And there has yet to be anyone. You see, y'all think this shit is a game. For me, it's not a game because, first of all, I'm not an Obama fan. Give a shit about Barack Obama, right? So I'm not protecting her based on the fact of who she's married to, or based on the fact that he was this black president or this first black president. Y'all see the quotations, right? My point is where that satire came from. Who started that lie? Who put that racist satire, sexist racist satire out there? Who's responsible for starting those rumors? And when you look into it and you get to the original source, primary source, you'll find out that it was the neo-Nazi skinheads who spawned that lie. So again, for me to see somebody like my brother, Asir the Duke of Tears, regurgitating racist satire and QAnon garbage pail shit, it really pisses me off. And I've addressed it, and I've addressed him. And like many people do, instead of being accountable for what they broadcast and what comes out their mouth, they would rather run away from it or lie and say, well, I ain't say that. When, bro, we can pull up hundreds of posts with you saying what I said you said, right? And again, this allows the pale-faced Trump voters to point at us and say, you see, I told you them people incompetent. I told you them people mentally unstable. I told you they're very uneducated, but think they the smartest motherfucker ever, right? They think they the smartest people ever. They say blacks is the original Cometians or people of Kemet or Egypt or Misraim, right? Tamaray, name some more, right? These people retarded. They think that Olmecs was black people. These people retarded. They think that they're indigenous to the Americas when they ain't nothing but some West Africans. This the kind of shit that these pale-faced Trump voters say about y'all. I know because I see it. I know because I've saved many of the memes that they have created, dragging the fuck out of y'all. So imagine how they feel about those of you who sided with them and trauma bonded with Trump and voted for Trump and are wearing Make America Great Again hats. I have no mercy. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do by rebutting. I'm not challenging shit because there's nothing to challenge. A fact is a fact. Pseudo information is pseudo information. Racist satire, disinformation is racist satire, disinformation based upon its origins. Now, most people comprehend exactly what I'm saying, but due to the fact that they getting that YouTube money, they getting that TikTok money, right? They gonna continue to ride that algorithm of misinformation and keep feeding the people dog doodle or bull doodle, if you will. These are the individuals who ultimately do not care about the people. And the more you dig into their backgrounds, right, the more you'll over understand who they actually are and what they actually stand for. They don't give a fuck about the foundation that we all stand on, right? We standing on Malcolm's shoulders. We standing on Martin Luther King's shoulders. I don't care how. I know a lot of y'all conscious people were taught to hate Martin Luther King. I know you were, because I was taught the same shit. I had to mature and actually become a scholar to overcome that hatred that was taught to me about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King, prior to him being assassinated, he was pushing for reparations, right? He was being honest with the people once he understood the fact that him having the people fight for civil rights. What would Martin say? He say, I believe I've led our people into a burning house. He said, next time we come to DC, we coming to get our check. And after that, they eliminated him. That don't sound like a man who I should be hating. But a man who has an abundance of knowledge in the realm of metaphysics, history, law, and so on and so forth, who knowingly spreads racist propaganda, knowingly spreads misogynistic, hateful Black women information, deserves every lash I give they ass. Because that is selling out. That is the Europeanized Sambo, not the Black God Sambo. That's that Oreo shit. As to where for a check, you will sell out your entire nation, nigga. So for that, I have all right to go in on your ass anytime the fuck I feel like it. And I will. And I do. And I have. And I shall continue. I respect anybody who can be accountable for mistakes that they've made in the past. And not just being accountable, I accept that. But being able to make corrections within social media and say, hey, brothers and sisters, once upon a time, I said this, or I put this misinformation out here. It's my duty to not only correct it and be accountable for it, but to make as many attempts that I possibly can to reverse that damage that I've done. I can respect that, right? And as a protege of, and as a prior follower of various ideologies and various ancestors, elders, and master teachers, I've had to humble myself many times. And I sit here and gladly say that, right? Those experiences shaped and molded me to be who I am today. At this point in life, I remember at one time, we can go all the way back to when I was a child. I was a child who my mama, if it was somebody calling or a bill collector she ain't want to talk to or whatnot, I'm the child that you don't let answer the phone. Because my game face, or I'm a horrible liar. So as I grow and grow and grow and get older, it was, well, only time I'm a lie or lie for somebody is to the police or something like that, or to whomever. I'm at the point in my life to, I don't give a fuck. I'm not lying at all. I would rather be in a predicament as to where I'm going to always tell the truth. Therefore, I don't never have to worry about telling another lie about nothing. I would rather face the consequences of the truth than be a lying sack of shit and have to continuously tell more lies based off of the first lie that I told, right? Now, again, just because at this point in my life, I refuse to even fucking lie to the police, it doesn't mean that I'm a snitch on my brother or sister. The police can ask me anything. I don't have to acquiesce, right? I don't have to answer the fucking question. I could just say, man, if you don't get on my face. If I'm in a courtroom, you know what I'm saying? I can just object, right? I can merely state my case and tell them, understand, when we deal with venue, status, jurisdiction, and adjudication, we, first of all, we have no business in their venues, right? Secondly, when it comes to status, we have no business in their venue, right? And when it comes to jurisdiction, bitch, you not my God. You not my parent, right? You not my brother. You not my sister. You not my superior, and you have no authority over me. So I don't have to lie. The truth and the facts are enough. Right. See, the right to remain silent, I'm with that, right? But due to the multiple trials and errors that I've faced since I became knowledgeable when it comes to dealing with USA Inc. and their various subsidiaries, they use that silence and many times against us to say that we acquiesce, the word that I just used, because, you know, you didn't speak to or affirm to the facts only. They look at that in many cases as you acquiesce, right? Not to say that you have, because in many circumstances, many of us will choose to remain silent, right? Based on the fact that we know everything you say and do shall and will be used against you. Number one. Number two is, we know we dealing with and this when it comes to dealing with their policy enforcers, they are beyond trigger happy. We've seen them murder our men, women, and children. We've seen them assault, physically assault our men, women, and children based off of simple shit. Like they claim you jaywalk, right? Or they claim that you didn't have your seatbelt on. Or they claim that they have permission to enter your home without a warrant, right? Or they claim that they were in fear of their lives and thought that you was going to pour some hot water on them, so they murdered you. So these are the reasons that many of us remain silent when interacting with any of them, whether it's their policy enforcers or someone up higher, you know, on the food chain or whatnot, right? So I understand. But again, being that we know only we can save us, it doesn't negate the fact that they owe us, right? I hear people talk about self-reparations, and I'm with that to a certain degree. But as we practice self-reparations, these motherfuckers still need to compensate us. Not just for people will talk about slavery and oh, that was so long ago and this treaty is outdated and that treaty. I don't give a fuck what you say. Because reparations, restitution, compensation is not solely based on slavery. It's based on red summers. It's based on redlining that still happens to this very day. It's based on the various gun laws and vagrancy laws and Jim Crow and Christian black codes and Tignaud laws and so on and so forth. Whether we talking local, state, or federal, they have millions of policies that they owe us reparations for putting on the books. Any melanated person who is anti-reparations by way of the federal government, watch their ass. A lot of these people are Candace Owens Oreos. And here we go again. A lot of y'all currently are trauma bonding with Candace Owens. You willing to forget all the shit that she said about Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You willing to forgive her, right? You forgot who she married to. Many people forget who she's married to. Her allegiance has never been to her own people. This is a woman who sued the Department of Education and whatnot for the little racist threats that she was getting. And the minute she comes of age, look who she married. Look who she linked herself to initially. Now, was it Daily Mail or whoever the fuck she worked for? Once they dropped her ass like a hot potato for standing up for Palestinians when she could not stand up for her own people and marry a melanated man, not all of a sudden, she one of us. The minute Trump administration didn't put her in a position that she desired, now all of a sudden, she one of us. We have to stop being so forgiving and so forgetful. And stop thinking that everybody who got a broadcast and claims to be so-called pro-black, right? Stop thinking all of these people are on your team. We got to stop doing that. Most of the brothers and sisters who are dependable, reliable, standing on business, sincere in what they say, not just based off of what they say, but based off of their actions, we don't get a lot of support. We don't get a lot of views. By the way, if you're watching, please hit the like, right? Share. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the brothers and sisters and my moderator in the chat who are helping me out, right? But people like me, we're not the ones who are popular, right? We aren't the ones who get put into the algorithm so everybody else can see it. Again, if I was on here talking about Diddy did it or Diddy didn't do it, I get all of the views and likes in the world. But being that I'm evading or avoiding these types of distractions. Now, granted, a few months ago, I already told y'all, Diddy ain't going to no motherfucking jail for no racketeer and none of that shit. He's Diddy. And for the most part, a lot of that stuff he's not guilty of. Not where they was trying to hit him. They were trying to hit that man's pockets and take his money. I said that. He still need his ass beat for, some of these things that he did to some of these women. Even the women who were willing participants. He still need his ass beat. Right? But Tory Lanez is a whole different story. So by me coupling my comments about Sean Combs with Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, a lot of people can feel like they couldn't figure me out. Like, what? No, you over here going, what? What am I trying to say? I'm saying exactly what the fuck I said. I'm saying for the most part, Diddy is innocent. And for all parts, Tory Lanez is guilty. And he's not going to receive a pardon from Gavin Newsom. I said what I said and I meant what I said. To the tune of me putting $1,000 on the table. Told y'all, if that boy received, first of all, he's exhausted his appeals. Thirdly, there is no new evidence. Bradley James or James Bradley hearing a portion of a conversation in between Kelsey Harris and her husband is not evidence, period. It's hearsay. Everything else that was presented to you all as new evidence was not new evidence. All of that shit was already utilized in Megan Thee Stallion's in Tory Lanez, trial. So let me bring this full circle because I don't plan to sit here and talk to y'all about that shit when I did multiple videos about it already, proving my case. Because again, this is not a classified case. Transcripts, district attorney interviews, all of that information can be found concerning that case. But I'm going to tell you why we're going to spend a couple minutes before I get out of here talking about Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion lied about being shot. Instead of her being honest in the beginning and saying, yeah, Tory shot me or shot at me or fired at the ground and the bullet fragments went in my feet, she kept saying she stepped on glass. That's number one. Now, I'm going to use her situation in comparison to my situation and some other women's situation. Many women have been in domestic violence situations in their own homes as to where we've contacted our people who will come and get the nigga out or come and whoop his ass, right? And then we turn around and let the man come right back. Therefore, being highly inconsiderate of the fact that our people came over here and got this man out your house, right? And away from you, because he was no good for you. But you turn around and you got right back with that man. Your people risk going to jail. They risk being injured because they don't know if this guy got a pistol or a knife or if he know jujitsu or whatever, right? So you jeopardize all of these people's freedom to come get this man out of your circumference and you go back to him. I mean, the way that is relevant to Megan Thee Stallion is this. She kept saying she stepped on glass. She told the first police officer who asked her, "Hey, are you the one who got shot?" "Nope, I stepped on glass." She told the second police officer, "You the one that got shot, right?" "Nope, I stepped on glass." She told the third police officer while she was in the hospital laying in the bed with doctor number 1 standing next to her, "I stepped on glass," right? She told the second doctor who was in the hospital room with her with the first doctor, "I didn't get shot. I stepped on glass." Mind you, the injuries are not on the bottom of her feet, as y'all would like to say, right? But when that third doctor came in, who's the actual surgeon, who was the one who was about to stitch her up, found those bullet fragments in her feet, she could no longer lie to medical staff and law enforcement. But she did not come out on social media and tell anybody shit. She didn't go on social media and say, "Hey, there was no gunplay. I stepped on glass." She just became silent. But once Tory Lanez PR staff came out and started to try to spin the narrative and lie, is what they was doing, to try to make it seem like Kelsey Harris is the one who shot Megan, when at this point, Megan hasn't said any goddamn body shot Megan. Once Tory did that, that's when Megan came out on social media and made that video and was like, "You know what? As a black man and as black people, I lied and said I didn't get shot in order to safeguard all of us, especially Tory. But since this motherfucker out here and he got his PR team dragging my name through the dirt and trying and creating this narrative, I'ma tell y'all, this nigga shot me." But due to the fact that she already lied multiple times saying that she stepped on glass, she lost her support system. Now let's get back to me and these other women who face domestic violence issues, right? And we have gangster people in our family, or big brothers and big cousins and nephews, who very well will come straighten this nigga out. Once they do that shit one time, and you make the decision to still be involved with that individual, they not fucking with you. Some will. It's still some phone calls many women and myself can make, right? But once they done already stuck their neck out there for you and risk your freedom and all of that shit, and you put yourself back in that same situation, your people not gonna want to deal with the shit. So that's how I cross-reference both of those situations. So with that being said, this is one of the reasons that I choose to not be silent, to talk about things that happen in my fucking personal life, because I know it's people that need to hear that. And I hate the fact that we try to silence women and children who are victims of predators, whether it's a sexual predator, whether it's a domestic violence situation, and so on and so forth. I firmly stand on everything that I say and do, and I hold myself accountable for my mistakes as well as my achievements, right? Number two, I did 2 courses of anger management in the early 2000s. So I understand if my retaliation, even though I'm not the initiator of the fucking problem, it's all about how I respond to it. And if you push my button so hard that I retaliate in a way that physically injures the abuser or ends their life, then I'm possibly ending my life as I know, as far as my freedom being taken away from me and me losing everything that I have once again, which is something that I already faced in the past. So if that don't resonate with you and you don't comprehend what I said, that's a you issue. That's not a me issue. I'm not going to change the way I handle my affairs. I have to handle my affairs in the way that's most beneficial to me and most beneficial to the brothers and sisters who build with me and follow me. So the naysayers, your best bet is, if you looking at it like, well, you shouldn't talk about relationship shit online, and you one of them motherfuckers that's like them grandmas and mamas who told a baby don't say nothing about Uncle Ray Ray touching her. You one of them motherfuckers. So it's best for you to unfriend me, right? Or to not follow any of my content, right? That's what you do. But don't try to tell me I went about something wrong. Everybody is going to handle their affairs in the best way that they know how. And again, since this is not a new rodeo, this is not my first rodeo. I've been through this before, right? And from trials and errors and experience, I'll learn how to properly deal with my issues. That way I don't end up risking my freedom and losing everything that I work for. You handle your shit how you choose to handle your shit. I will handle and deal with my affairs how I choose to handle and deal with my affairs. I'm going to always do, when it comes to these type of situations, they used to tell me, don't fight fire with fire. You got to fight water, honey with fire, whatever my homeboy, peace be upon him, Trevor Johnson, a.k.a. Joe, used to say to me. I had to think about these things and be like, yeah, the last thing I'm trying to do is end up in anybody precinct or county jail or penitentiary. Although I didn't initiate, I didn't self-inflict none of these issues. So the best way for me to deal with it is to fucking broadcast it. Because if I'm telling you I'm in a sticky situation and I'm putting it on police book, well, you know you don't put shit on there. I intentionally put the shit on there. That way I know, damn, if I go and I already put all this on here, they gonna say, well, ma'am, you already told on yourself because you put this shit on federal book, Fed book, police book. So again, in order to keep myself in check, that's one of the reasons out of the multiple reasons as to why I deal with things the way I dealt with things. I'm not trying to put my family in a predicament as to where they risking their freedom, right? And they know that. Nah, I don't want people thinking I'm 100% cream puff. Don't get it twisted. You violate and cross the line in the wrong way, I will risk it all. But if I can manage things, you know what I'm saying? What y'all call that? Manage control. What was old boy? What was his position? The guy who Robert Sylvester Chester Kelly hired to manage his affairs. It was control. I forgot what you call it, but if I can do that, that's the better route for me as a mother, right? As a wife, as a spouse, as an elder. That's the best way for me to do it, right? And it worked. So I told y'all, I know what I'm doing. Don't count me out. I know exactly what I'm doing. So again, if you know anybody who is facing these types of issues, please get them some help. There's help out here. There's various nonprofit organizations who get millions of dollars in donations in order to assist abused women and children. Get them some help. I know how to deal with my situation, right? I know too many gangsters to be, you see what I'm saying? Too many. So I'm good. I'm good. Everything I did served a purpose. And it helped create a better communication and a stronger bond with me, others, and within my household. So that's what it is, y'all. Again, I couldn't fight fire with water sometime. I mean, but sometimes, they say steel sharpens steel, I'm a woman. I don't like violence, period. I don't even like arguing. It's times in my life where I've been in arguments and I just start throwing up because I don't even like arguing. Like, I don't, Now, it's debating and arguing are two different things. We can debate. And as we debate, anybody that I debate with, we're supposed to be able to learn from one another as we debate. But if I'm debating with somebody and they saying just dumb shit, if I continue to interact or, argue or debate with this individual, then I'll become a dummy too. So again, most arguments I don't participate in because I'm not a dummy. And I'm not going to get Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. back. I'm not going to get that back. So if I waste 10, 5, 4, 3 minutes, seconds, hours arguing with somebody who isn't competent enough to be able to listen so that we can come to some type of resolution, then I'm just as dumb as them. Now, I say this, and this does not mean don't defend yourself. It does not mean let people talk to you crazy. You just have to realize that it's crazy talk, and I have to separate. You need to keep that person out of your circumference, especially if you got the type of temper that many of us have, as to where you will snap. You know how they say the quiet person is the one that'll really put work in? That's how it is. That's why the bully, in the end, always gets devoured. Don't be the bully, right? I don't want you to be the victim either, but definitely don't be the bully. So we gonna end this again. I appreciate y'all. For sure, hit the like, hit the share. I appreciate the comments. I was looking to see if it was any questions, but it's kind of too many comments to do that. And if I have the time tomorrow, we'll do part 2 because there's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to touch on. But again, due to StreamYard not allowing Facebook to broadcast this, I don't know what happened. I blamed it on Facebook. It actually wasn't Facebook's fault. But again, so what? Mark Zuckerberg needs to cut the children who went to Brooks Middle School, you know what I'm saying, in 87, 88, 80. Cut us a check, bro. You stole our stuff. You're just like your daddy and the rest of y'all ancestors. It's funny, but it ain't funny, right? But, you know, we get into the resolutions. And again, shout out to my brother, Ramsel Eunice, right? Who out here fighting for the people. He literally went downtown Detroit yesterday on the 4th of July and had our brothers and sisters sign their name and put their name in the computer on their list for him, well, for them to be able to get in some of these vacant houses here in Detroit that these banks and these various people who, you know, are genderfying, is that a word? Doing the gentrification here in a city that, as long as I have been living, has always been more than 85% so-called black. That's what Detroit is, right? So that man is a warrior. He's 100% warrior. And he deserves all of the support that he gets, and he deserves even more support, whether it's manpower or whether it's by way of monetary gifts for what he's done from Detroit to Highland Park and many other cities. To stand up to a mayor, to stand up to the city police department, to stand up to the city council and tell them you work for the people, so your land banks and all of these other things is illegal. You to take someone's home for property taxes is illegal. So these homes that you kick people out of and force certain families to abandon, I'm putting them right back into these houses. And this is similar to what, peace be upon them, Bobby Ill and my elder Moors was doing back in the early 2000s. And this is what we all should be doing. The right to self-determination, human rights, indigenous rights, the rights of a child, / to a name and a nationality. This is what I've always stood on, right? These are the most important issues that are plaguing us as a people, because poverty causes dis-ease. When somebody's stomach is touching their back, when their baby's not eating, they can't provide shelter, may not have an ID, so if they apply for certain employment, that they're not able to get it. Some people have mental health issues because of poverty. Don't know where to go to get help for these issues. The day is coming where one of these politicians who sits in that Oval Office is going to have to balance the books and cut the checks for what they owe us. That way, We create our own institutions and help our own people the way our ancestors were originally doing before they decided to, by way of eminent domain, take land, homes, and businesses away from us. This is the very reason that we weren't able to inherit a lot of what was supposed to be left to us. And as our parents, the next generation, began to rebuild wealth for their heirs and descendants, these dirty motherfuckers ushered in freebase cocaine, or what y'all call crack, which became another epidemic, which stole our generational wealth again, which was systematically, by way of what y'all call government, this shit was intentionally done to us all over again. Our generation has to be the generation to stop this cycle. And again, make sure whoever sits in that Oval Office balances the books and cuts the checks. They can continue to do the secondary job, which is continue to make the wealthy people wealthier. But before that, we come first. We come first, not last, first. Put you, your babies, your spouse, your relatives first, before USA Inc., before a King James version of the Bible, before a Quran or a Holy Quran or a prophet or any deities. Put you first. Put us as your brothers and sisters first, and leave all that shit as secondary, and we gonna get to where we going. If we have to do it without certain people, so be it. And with that, I say peace.
Supreme.
Shock.
They say I'm dope, I said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady beat, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah, unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call the third eye. We came to build, not pay your bill. Slang them in municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian cretins in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus. But you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers, non-believers, cause we don't be lying, shaking hands and taking